one common mistake is resting for too long in between sets. If you're focusing on strength and you're going as heavy as you can for 2, 3, 4 reps, I think you need that rest in between to push it on the next set if you're increasing weight. So then in that case, yes, of course, rest for 4 minutes if you want to. But if you're doing something like circuit training or you're doing hypertrophy training, 30 or 60 seconds in between a set is fine. Or if you're supersetting, you don't need much rest, obviously, in between that. And then rest for a minute and a half. You're good to go.
Hi, I'm Lauren Parsons.
And I'm Andy Jackson, and this is the All Well Co podcast.
Dive deep with us as leading experts share their unique perspectives on topics such as recovery, sleep, movement, and the latest innovations in the space. So Annie, welcome to the All Well Co podcast. Before we dive into your journey, let's set the stage a little bit. Can you share how we first met and what drew you to the All Well Co community?
Yeah, I think I met you, Andy, through Vivo Barefoot, right?
Yeah.
I think you guys reached out to me or vice versa about, trying the footwear and trying all the stuff. And I got the shoes and I absolutely love them because I needed lifting shoes, flat shoes. Just as a runner, I was always lifting in my running shoes or barefoot. And it was much better to have something that was just easy and comfortable to use. So I think that's how we first started. And then I think we were talking about your platform and I thought it was awesome what you guys were doing. So we've just stayed in touch a little bit.
Are you still a fan of Evo? Are you still wearing them?
Yes, I am.
Okay, cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Good.
Yeah.
So we're really interested in hearing about you today. Can you share your journey into fitness and specifically how your brand, Tune Into Fitness, came to be?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started off as a track and field athlete in college. And while I was in college, I got super into the gym. I started lifting weights a ton. And that was really just because I wanted to find every way possible to get faster, to be a faster runner. I started getting really into nutrition. In high school, my mom kind of helped me with that. She was crazy workout freak. She was a nutritionist. My dad coached me in high school. So I think with them, it really kind of helped me in college just get more and more into that when I was on my own. So I started going to the gym a ton and then people would ask me like, what are you doing? Because I was super lean and I had like a 12-pack ab. So much definition just because I was so focused on my diet and my training. And I started getting into fitness competitions, bikini competitions, and then I started tracking my progress online. And I think the craziest thing was that runners usually don't have a ton of muscle. When you run, you usually are skinny, you're not lifting weights. And I was running much faster times with the lifting involved. And I think it was just something that was so uncommon. I was running less, lifting more, which was just it was unheard of in the collegiate track industry at that time. So I started sharing my journey and people were asking me, can you send me a workout plan? Can you send me a diet plan? Like I need to get in shape. So I started getting clients online and I was charging like $5 for a workout plan. And I was like, here you go. This is like what I was doing this week. And then I just started filming it because people would be like, well, I don't know what the form is like. I don't know how to do these things. So I would film it and put it on their workout plan. And then I would just post little videos on Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that. And then I started training people in person. And it kind of just evolved to where when I graduated college, I had like 50, 60, 100 clients. And I was just like, okay, well, this is better than going to work a 9-to-5 job, which is, what most people would probably do after they graduate college. And then through my training my clients, I was using resistance bands and all these different fitness equipment pieces that I would just tell them to go order online. So then I decided to manufacture my own fitness equipment. So I manufactured yoga mats that were hemp and eco-friendly, resistance bands and foam rollers and stuff like that, really for my clients. And then when COVID hit, GNC reached out to me to sell the products on their website. And then Walmart reached out to me. So I was selling all my fitness equipment in those stores and just kind of building my client base. And I started doing different, fitness modeling gigs with Walmart, with Nordic Track, different brands were reaching out to me through Instagram. And then I signed with an agency, which was Wilhelmina, and started, modeling for brands like Lululemon and Nike and things like that. And just kind of expanding the whole fitness side of things. So that's kind of the basic overview of kind of how I got started.
That's actually really cool. So literally from $5 workout plans to supporting huge brands like Walmart. Congratulations. That's fantastic.
Thanks.
What distances were you running, by the way? I'm just intrigued.
I ran the 800, that was the main one, the
Yeah.
mile, and then the 5K because track was a spring sport, but they wanted us to run year round. So cross country was in the fall. So they kind of required everyone, if you're running track, you got to run cross country too. So we kind of all trained for the 5K as well.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
interesting. I
Brutal.
mean, what was interesting when you were chatting there about your sort of, let's call it your philosophy or your methodology behind your approach to fitness and lifestyle, you talked about almost something that sounds horrific to long distance runners. You talked about muscle and training and weights and etc. and running at the same time. I think that seems to be something that's happening a lot more now in the industry. So, can you just talk us through your core philosophy behind your approach to fitness and lifestyle?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I first started lifting, I was running or I was reading all these articles on bodybuilding.com. I was like, how do I lift to get stronger? How do I lift to get a stronger core? All of these things that I knew was going to help with running. But when I first started, I always thought you had to do more. Just as a runner, I think that's the mentality. You need to run more and do more. So when I first started combining the lifting, I was in the gym for like 4 hours and running like 10 miles a day. And so I kept getting injured. I kept getting the same stress fracture in my shin. It would keep coming back, and I was out for running for a long time. And it would just kind of be this cycle until I kind of learned. And I had a very low body fat percentage too, but I kind of learned that for me not to get injured and just to keep progressing, I need to do a little bit less. I need to listen to what my coaches are telling me and not overdo it. So I started cutting back the lifting and the running. And I was kind of just working out smarter and spending maybe 30 minutes in the gym lifting weights. And then instead of running 10 miles, I would cut it down to 5 miles and I would start incorporating cross training, like swimming, the elliptical, the bike, things like that to help with still the aerobics, but you're not putting so much strain on your body. And to my surprise, I was running much faster times. I felt amazing and I was able to sustain it for years. And it just showed me that if I want to keep going and I don't want to keep getting injured and I want to make progress, I need to do less. And I was kind of, also focusing on the diet, eating a little bit more, increasing my body fat percentage to a healthy point where I actually had energy. And it was just something I could sustain. And then when I started kind of helping coach other people, I think a lot of people are used to this extreme mentality of like coaches will tell them like you can't eat anything or you can't eat carbs or whatever. And I think from having my clients have so much progress and just telling me that this is something I can do every day. I don't even feel like I'm dieting. It just showed me that this is really what people need to focus on is this kind of approach to fitness. And I think the high rocks thing, like what you mentioned, a lot of people are doing that now is showing people that you can run and you can combine the lifting and do it in a
Mhm.
short amount of time. So
Mm.
Interesting. So, well, let's take a new client comes to you. So, someone's just starting out. What's the first step then, or what's the first bit of advice you would give them to help them like build a consistent fitness routine?
So when a client first comes to me, I tell them to write down every single thing or take a picture of what they eat in a 2 week span of time. Like write down every single thing. Where do you go out to eat? How much time are you spending in the gym? How do you feel? Like I make them really journal it or send me a voice note or something that's easy for them to do. And it's really based on what they've been doing because what they're coming to me to kind of take a different approach of what they've been doing. So it's really not the same for everyone starting out, of course. But the first thing is kind of starting slow. So I'll tell them, if they have this is such a basic thing to say, but if they're going out and having 4 drinks a weekend, I'll say cut that down to 2. Pick a day that maybe you want to go out, have fun, don't get rid of it completely. And then we start out really small and I'll give them a meal plan. But one thing that I do, and I have a couple of nutrition coaches that work with me on the meal plans, is we give them a lot of options. So I'm like, what foods do you like? What foods do you not like? I'm not going to give you something that you hate or else you're not going to follow it. So
Mhm.
I give them 3 or 4 options of breakfast, lunch, dinners, all with their macronutrient goals that we, put together within that. And they're able to kind of choose each day. I put one option that they don't even need to cook. They can go out and get stuff. We find healthy options and it's just easy for them. And the same thing with the workouts. I ask them, how much time a day do you have to work out? And we try to incorporate within that. And we track things every single week of, progress pictures, how they're feeling, calls, and just make sure it's a very gradual approach to where you have to make sure they're making progress still, and then we kind of go based off of that. So that's kind of what I tell them when we first start.
Yeah. And, a lot of us, and maybe all of us, just depends on the chapter of our lives, can struggle with motivation, right? I mean, just depends on what's going on, how tired we are, so on and so forth. So, do you have any sort of practical tools or mindset shifts that you offer or recommend for staying consistent?
Yeah, I think at first you need that extra person to tell you that you can do it and to motivate you. So I always go into every single call or session with like the most amount of energy that I can give them because people always come in like, oh, I don't want to do this. They're tired. That's the reason why a lot of people don't work out. It's just whatever else is going on in their day. It's not something that they feel like they can do, stress
Yeah.
or whatever the case may be. So I
Yeah.
always try to make sure I give them that positive energy. But then after that, it's really up to them to motivate themselves. Like I can only do so much. So I always
Yeah.
tell them like what's their end goal? Like why are they even doing this in the first place? And then I tell them to pay attention to how they feel. Like how do you feel at the end of the week when you got all of these workouts done and you made this progress? I always try to compliment them on the things that I noticed that they changed or fixed because it's huge. And I think a lot of times we don't notice those small changes until maybe someone points it out or months down the road, we're like, oh my God, I have this new muscle here that I didn't realize I had, or I lost all this weight, or whatever it is, or I feel so much better. So I think just reminding them that they are making these small changes just helps motivate them so much.
Yeah, and do you do anything such as, I only have 20 to 30 minutes, what should I do? Or they might think they only have a certain amount of time. Is there sort of a structure that you'd suggest if that was kind of the case or the mindset?
Yeah, and actually all of my in-person workout sessions are 30 minutes. I rarely do
Okay,
Oh,
hours. I
interesting.
think if
great.
they're pretty advanced, they'll do an hour, but most people, I get it done in 30 minutes. And I tell them you can do cardio on your own and stretching on your own. You don't need me for that. That's all you. Unless you want to go for a run together, that's fine. I can motivate you for that. But typically it's 30 minutes. So if someone only has 20 or 30 minutes, I guess if you're combining the cardio within that, one way I would do it is maybe a 5 minute moderate paced warm up on any cardio equipment that they like. And then maybe one focused strength exercise. So maybe you're doing sumo deadlifts or squats today. And I would say do like 5 or 6 sets of that. Like focus on building the strength, focus on that one exercise, and then maybe set up some stations and set up like 5 exercises for 10 or 15 minutes. And you just go through each exercise, time yourself, and go through as many times as you can with 15 minutes. And then at the end, put in like 3 to 5 minutes of sprints in or heavy hit intervals in there, just to get those 20 or 30 minutes in. And that's a good
Okay,
way of structuring a workout if you want both.
very cool. And then you said something, you said, "I'd go on a run with you." Are you one-on-one with all your clients, or how do you structure that?
Most of them are one-on-one. I do have some groups, which are like 4 or 5 people. I've hosted group classes in the past, which I like, but a lot of people that come to me, especially in Florida, just, I don't know, Miami, South Florida, they want one-on-one. They want you to kind of focus
Mhm.
on them and give your attention to them and help them. So I think most people are that one-on-one, which limits the time. It's kind of hard, but I mean, I like it. I like being able to focus on one person.
So you got a new client, you're on a run with them, you're out there in this one-on-one situation, and it's obvious that they're taking no interest in the nutrition at all. They're completely overlooking it, okay? So what 2 to 3 simple changes would you advise anybody in that situation that they can make to the nutrition that will support those fitness goals?
So I usually tell them to cook more because I think a lot of the times they grab
Oh,
things or they're out to eat. So I'm like, just start cooking. And
Great
most of the
advice.
time, people, I mean, typically you will eat a little bit less calories when you're cooking at home. And then a lot of people don't want to make complicated things at home. So it's like pretty minimal ingredients. Like we don't want to make this like crazy, I don't know, stir fry or just giving an example, thing that you would get out. So a lot of the times it's like a piece of salmon, a vegetable, potato or something. Like it actually
Mhm.
simplifies it just by doing that. And then of course the next thing would be drinking water. Like if you're dehydrated a little bit, you guys know this, but you'll feel a little bit hungry. So I think just, midday especially and in the mornings, like make sure you're drinking a lot of water and you'll automatically be less hungry and craving less sweets and fatty foods.
Yeah. We know about that living here in
Yeah.
Colorado,
oh
that's for
yeah,
sure.
it
Yeah.
gets pretty dry. It gets pretty dry here. My problem with my water at lunchtime, I drink a lot of water, but that's to help me down all the chocolate that I'm eating, which is not as
Mhm.
not as ideal as it could be. Although I have stopped eating chocolate at night on the
Yeah, you've said
most of
that,
the
yeah.
time. So
Really?
yeah,
Wow.
try
There you
to.
go. Chocolate's so good. That's one
Yeah,
thing I,
it is.
I keep in a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, okay, so let's get into we're into somebody who's worked out before, they failed, they've come to you because they need a bit more help. What are the common mistakes that you see people making in fitness, and how can they avoid them?
Oh my gosh, one common mistake I was just talking to someone about is resting for too long in between sets. So
Mm.
if they like a lot, I think a lot of men, because I train, I would say 60% men, 40% women, which you would think it's the opposite. But I think just I train in a very, my workouts are very athletic. It's like an athletic approach that I think men like the extra push.
Yeah.
But one thing is they think that if they do a set of squats, they can rest for 5 or 6 minutes in between, go on their phone and walk around the gym and socialize.
Yeah, I
And
was
I'm
gonna
like, you
say, is
need
that
to,
are they intentionally doing that, Annie, or is it just because they picked the phone up?
I think it's because they pick the phone up.
Yeah.
Intentionally doing it, if they're really working on strength and they're going as heavy as they can for 3 reps, I understand it. Maybe resting for 3 or 4 minutes. But a
Yeah.
lot of people, they just do one set and it's not even that heavy for them. And they just think they need to rest for
So
10
so if I
minutes.
was, you
So,
know, if I'm
Yeah.
lifting, how long are you recommending I should rest in between? 30 seconds, or what do you think I should do?
well, I think it depends on the weight. So if you're focusing on strength and you're going as heavy as you can for 2, 3, 4 reps, I think you need that rest in between to push it on the next set if you're increasing weight. So then in that case, yes, of course, rest for 4 minutes if you want to. But if you're doing something like circuit training or you're doing hypertrophy training, 30 or 60 seconds in between a set is fine. Or if you're supersetting, you don't need much rest, obviously, in between that, and then rest for a minute and a half. You're good to go.
Yeah.
But, you
Of
know,
course, you
Those
want
are
your
cool.
muscles to feel recovered, but
yeah, and it's really
Sure.
that's great. If of all the things that I thought you were gonna say, resting for too long was not one of the things if you'd given me a list of 10 things, that would not have been on the top 10.
Yeah.
That's
that's
quite
like my pet
fascinating.
peeve. I can't, my clients
Uh-huh.
will always get mad at me because I like yell at them. I'm like, okay, let's go. Like,
Yeah. I'd be like, form,
anytime
I
they're,
think all these things, but yeah.
I
oh, they
think,
try to have a conversation. I'm like, okay, we'll do this later.
I'm not sure if you're friends or not, but I think you know Marcus Philly,
Yeah.
from online, et cetera, and we had Marcus on the podcast, and one of the things his pet peeve was that people don't go to the true failure at the
Yeah.
end. He was
Yeah.
just saying is that people don't go to the actual
Too light.
and they go too light, or they kind of feel like it's starting to get a bit uncomfortable, and they're not really getting there to get the real strength benefits.
I mean, there's so many things that people do that you're like, you got to fix this. That's pretty common. I think with a trainer, that's more uncommon because the trainer should be pushing you, not
Programming
to
Yeah.
for
fail you
you.
every time, but they should be spotting you and helping you and making you do more than you think you can. So, on your own, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. So switching gears just a little bit, I want to talk about your social media and the growth that you've had. You've built a really strong following. So what do you think? And I'm sure there's a lot of things, but what do you think has been key to growing your community online?
Definitely the consistency, which I will tell you firsthand, I've been pretty inconsistent the last 2 months, and I've noticed it a lot.
Mm,
When I was really building it, I was trying to, like, every single day at the same time I was posting something. I know it's changed now with how social media is, but it's just that like, during COVID, I was doing a workout at, like, 4 p.m. every day. Like, I would post at the same time, and I was doing a live workout session, I think it was once a week. And I would, do it with a brand or do it on my own on a live stream. And that was really helpful because people knew what to look for. And then I would do a recipe once a week, like recipe Wednesdays, I think it was, where I would do a new recipe for people to kind of look for and just different little tips. On TikTok, I would do like different fitness tips that I was talking and explaining it. And that was really helpful. But I think just, it's really, you got to be consistent every single day.
sure. And what are your goals for using it? Because I know a lot of your, well, maybe all of your clients are in person. So what do you utilize social media for? How do you envision it working for you?
Yeah, well, so I would say half is still online, but they're
Okay.
more so using the app. I had a lot of one-on-one sessions that were online. I still have a couple, but I've kind of gotten away from that just to focus on my in-person clients, just because it was more requested. And then I've kind of navigated people online to use the app, or they'll do a nutrition program, which I will, I have other coaches that can kind of help me with that. But it was hard to manage all of it. So I've definitely, had to do most of them in person.
Okay.
And then tell me the other part of that question.
Just your purpose for social media. So
The
kind of some
purpose.
people utilize it for different things. What's your goal? How do you see progress with what you're using it for?
Yeah, so it's kind of changed a little bit over time. I think at first it was like I wanted to get clients and I wanted to coach people. And although I still want to do that, I think now I want to kind of show people how to live a healthy, fun, active lifestyle. So what I want to post more of is more travel and sports and just adding fitness into whatever you're doing in life and showing that you can do it anywhere you are. It doesn't need to take up a lot of time. You can do body weight things. And you can just kind of have fun with it. And it doesn't need to be so much pressure. It doesn't always need to be in the gym, which is one thing that I think I was doing a lot of before. So just more outdoor stuff and just having fun with it.
Yeah. And then, so if I were someone who wanted to get started online, wanted to kind of do what you do, where should they start? Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all of it? I mean, how should they prioritize their time starting a channel?
I think TikTok is the thing now. I just
Really?
think Instagram seems, which I think a lot of people have said this lately, is it's just very stagnant. A lot of people are struggling to grow on Instagram, whereas TikTok, I think it's a little bit quicker. And I think a lot of talking to the camera videos and showing your personality tends to stick out. And then YouTube, I've always thought is great. Like if you have a community that's willing to watch a 5 or 10, 20-minute video of you, they're pretty invested. So I think those people on YouTube, the subscribers that you have, are more likely to turn into an actual customer or turn into someone that will really want to check out your other social channels. YouTube is very hard. I think it's very hard to be consistent with long form videos, but I would say that's a really good place to start. And then TikTok. Instagram, of course. I always say Instagram is like your business card. I think anyone that
Yeah.
wants to look you up, if they want to go to a workout class or they want to do anything with you, you'll go and look at the Instagram. Like, what is this person about? What do they post? What's the workout class that I'm going to about? So I always say use Instagram as your business card, but really trying to grow TikTok and YouTube.
It's a great way to put it. Yeah.
So it's kind of like us for in our business with LinkedIn. We see
Mm,
LinkedIn
That
as our
too.
business card, etc. Around that. Um, you you may or may not be aware, but we are as an organization not big fans of the word influencer, or even to an extent ambassador for all sorts of reasons. And
Oh,
we've
ambassador. Yeah.
I'm not sure we're the people who created this, but we make a big noise about calling people like yourselves professional advocates because we believe you're educated. We believe that you are really creating content that's based around good, maybe science, maybe education, etc. So all 4,000 odd people who are within our network, we call you professional advocates. Now, sometimes that does confuse some of the brands we're talking about. They go, "What's a professional advocate?" etc. And we know it will take time to get there. So, what's one thing you wish more people understood about creating authentic content online?
Gosh, I think you have to be yourself. So many people are afraid of talking and being themselves on camera because it's a lot of their friends and family that follow them, which is so interesting. Because I think if you're posting and you just thought a random stranger was going to see it, I think we wouldn't care as much. But I think we care more about the people that actually know us, which is the craziest thing.
That's a
But
good
I
point.
think
Yeah,
the people that are growing now are the ones that are talking to the camera and are sharing random stories and their dating life, or I'm just giving an example, a random story that happened to them, like just more real life things. And that's really what we're the most afraid to share is that unfiltered content. But that's what people are gravitating towards, like a perfect photo that the person looks amazing in doesn't get as many views as something that's actually more authentic and natural and shows like complexion of their skin or something like that. I mean, Alex Earl is a great example. She was showing, her acne on her skin and just sharing random stories that happened in the day as she was getting ready. And she's the most famous, almost one of the most famous people on the internet right now as far as influencers go.
yeah.
But yeah, it just goes to show you you have to just God show what you're doing in your life, be yourself. That's what people want to see.
Yeah.
And how do you build in, let's call it more science or educational based content into what you're showing?
So I was doing that a lot on TikTok, which I need to get back to, but just for example, making lunch for the day, and you're like, this is how I'm reaching my protein goals. This is why you need that. I aim to hit 140 grams of protein a day, and this is why. So sharing little tips on that, science based things like. For example, I installed a cold plunge on my balcony. So I talked a little bit about that on my Instagram story. I haven't been making reels specific to that just because I feel like if you're really over explaining something on a reel, it just people don't want to watch the whole thing. Whereas on a
Yeah.
story, I do find that people are a little bit more willing to just like listen to a story. I don't know why, but I found that that's the case. So typically we'll talk more about stuff on a story.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, you were actually just explaining before we came on the podcast, we were just chatting about these podcasts, and we've started sharing a lot of little snippets and bits out of
Yeah.
it, and we're getting lots of views from that versus obviously the long, full range of the podcast. Um, okay, there's going to be a lot of people who want to be you, who listening to your story,
Wow. Oh my
etc., want to
gosh.
be
That's
you.
cool.
So, or do what you do. So, can you share a little bit of a behind the scenes look at how you're balancing all this content creation, all this one-to-one client, your own training and your personal life. How are you, how are you actually balancing all of this?
Okay, so I also started a role with a private equity firm. So I'm doing business development for a private equity firm.
Oh, so just add a whole nother job into 3
It's
jobs
a
already.
whole nother job and it's a lot. It's a lot. So how I structure, I guess, a day or a week, I'll give you the shortened version, but I will wake up in the morning at like 6 a.m. and I have clients typically only 3 to 4 days a week now. So I kind of, it's not 6 days a week like it used to be. I kind of stack them. So I'll have clients 4 days a week from like 6 a.m. to noon. I might have a call within that time for the private equity stuff. And then I will have meetings from about noon to 3 for the private equity world. And then I'll go work out in the late afternoon, typically from like 4 to 5, 4 to 5:30. I don't work out every day. I work out like 5 days a week. The weekends are actually my longer workout sessions. During the week is 45 minutes. That's combining, sprints and with lifting. The weekends I'll go for a long run. I'll do like a longer lifting session on Saturday and Sunday. And I'll take a rest day in the middle of the week when I'm the busiest. So on a Wednesday, if I'm really busy that day, that's my rest day for working out. On the weekends, I actually have been using for content creation. There's a website called Peerspace. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, where you can rent out you can rent out a gym for an hour, or like a gym setting. So I did that this past weekend on Sunday. I rented out this gym for 2 hours. It was like $50 an hour, great gym, and I filmed a bunch of workout content during that time. And I've done that to kitchen spaces and I filmed cooking videos and I can kind of space that out for 3 weeks if I wanted to, just get 3 videos in. And then on the weekends, I will typically at night schedule in some social time, but I'm still working. I don't think there's ever a time that I'm like fully taking off. If I edit videos, I'll do that the weekday during the night. But I definitely make sure I have my own time at least for like 2 hours a day. It's
Yeah.
just, it's not regular hours. It's like 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., just spaced out in a weird way. But it's very hard to balance. The social life, I think, kind of falls if you're really focusing on work. If you're really focusing on the social life, the work kind of falls. So I think every single week you kind of have to decide which one you're going to focus more on.
Which one are you gonna focus
Yeah.
on? Yeah.
Which comes
Yeah.
first?
Yeah.
It sounds like you kind of block each of your responsibilities out. Is that kind of a way that you helps you keep your sanity, or at least you're like, I have,
Yes.
these 3 hours today to this one thing, and that is it. If I can't get it done, it's
Oh,
gonna happen another day. Is that
yeah.
kind of
Very
yeah,
scheduled. Yeah, like this morning I had clients and then I came to the coffee shop to do this and then I have to change into a business suit and go to a business meeting right after this and then go to the track to work out and go back to clients. So it's
yeah,
very like weird. I have a whole wardrobe in my car of I need to change into this. Everything is like I feel like I'm on the go all the time. But yes,
yeah,
my
you're ready for
schedule is
anything.
very laid out. Yes. It's
Okay,
Yeah.
very blocked off.
okay. So aside from that, speaking still to the social media bit a little bit, are there specific strategies that helped you grow your following that people listening out there could try themselves?
Yeah, so the workouts, the body weight workouts and cool locations, I think that's what really helped a lot of people. I remember when I was in California, um, I did a workout. It's the Santa Monica Pier, and that got like I don't know, 2 million views or something. And then people started following because they were like, I need body weight workouts when I'm traveling or if I'm at home. And stuff like that was really popular just to show that you can still be super fit and work out, wherever you are. And then definitely the running stuff has helped, like running in, you know, pretty locations and talking about, how to increase your mile times. I was posting a lot about that on YouTube, which was very helpful for people that were in high school runners or starting out and stuff like that. But those were probably the two things.
Yeah. And then how do you avoid burnout? Whether it be in your own workouts, because I'm sure, you could be tired at times, but also in content creation, because I'm sure at some point, like, I think I did that already.
Oh my
So,
God. So I actually took the last month off of working out completely. So when I was in Europe and then when I got back, I had some other trips. I was so burnt out, I think, from traveling and I was working a lot leading up to that. So I took an entire month off of working out. And the content creation, there were like, which actually hurt me. It just shows that you have to be consistent with the algorithm. There was like a month or two where I was kind of like, when I want to film. And that's not the mindset that you can have if you're trying to grow. I think you really have to schedule it in, make sure you're doing it, and make sure you're showing up, or else it's not going to work in your favor. So doing that and then collaborating with people definitely helps.
yeah.
Yeah, and actually that brings me into kind of what I wanted to ask. So obviously All Welco is a community. We're all about community. That's our key thing is that we've got, thousands of people like yourself part of the community who all interact with us in different ways. So, what role does community and accountability play in your success? And what tips can you give to people how they can sort of find or build a community for themselves?
Yeah, well, the All Welco community is great, and also because you have tons of still products, right, on your website from different
Yep.
various brands that are amazing. I remember I think it was Cured Nutrition. They have some great products. But community is huge. I mean, just being able to talk to people and share your journey with people that can relate or help you with things. And, I think having a community with working out is really important because you can combine, you can share workouts. You can maybe even like compete against each other for workouts. You can, talk to each other about, you know, did you get this done today? What are you doing tomorrow? And just kind of help guide each other in your fitness lifestyle and your healthy journey and all of that and give each other tips. I think it's much needed, especially when the motivation is lacking to have a community. Um, but I just think in general, like life, you have to have people around you that are supporting you and uplifting you just to be able to keep going and realize that there's a reason to do what you're doing and people that can relate to you as well.
And do you have any secret sauce as to how, people like you can build a community?
I think definitely getting maybe 2 or 3 friends on board. Like, I think when I first started, I did a running group in the community, and I had 2 or 3 friends that would join me at the track, and then I was kind of promoting it and, telling anyone that they could come for free to join the workout, and I would do, like, maybe an ab workout at the end, and we would talk a little bit about different fitness tips and nutrition and stuff like that, and I would do it with restaurants. I did it with a restaurant called Volet, and they create healthy bowls. They have locations, I think, all over the Southeast. But that was one way of kind of helping the community come together. And I think it was really exciting because there wasn't anything like it at the time. That was, people could come to the track and then you're also talking about fitness tips and tricks and stuff like that. So, yeah, just starting small, start small with who you know.
So in your introduction, you said something that really intrigued me. So Lauren and I are one of our other big principles is sustainability. We're both into the use of things like biomaterials, recycled materials, etc. Out with what you see in the community, we do a lot of consultancy and all sorts of things there. I was very intrigued about your equipment range. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so the yoga mats are made out of hemp material, and so they are very good actually on your feet and hands because they don't slide. It doesn't slide that material, and the bottom part of it is it's like an eco-friendly, natural, um, like foam material or like a forget what the name for it would be, but the underneath part just helps it kind of stick to the ground. The resistance band are latex free, so they're the fabric bands that go around your hips and knees for different glute and hip strengthening exercises because a lot of people are allergic to latex and also it doesn't feel very good on the skin, especially if you're a man that has hair on your legs. The
Uh-huh.
latex is not comfortable. And then the foam rollers as well are eco-friendly. So those are latex free. They are just awesome. It's a different material or it's a different kind of creation as well with how it looks. Like the every foam roller is different with, it kind of mimics you digging your knuckle into someone's skin or your elbow and things like that. So the foam roller has a very different design, which I kind of created with the team in Pakistan to help do that. So that's been awesome. And then I had things like yoga mat carrying straps and stuff like that. But those were the three products that we have.
And where can I find them?
They're still on Walmart.com. They're not on GNC anymore. I had to ship everything over to the Walmart warehouse because for a long time I was doing it out of my house. I sold my house and the whole room was filled with yoga mats. So I shipped everything off to the Walmart warehouses. So you can still find them on that website,
And,
Walmart.com.
and, and are you selling them on your website too?
Yeah, it's fitcessory.com. My website is tuneintofitness.com
Yeah.
and they're still on there as well.
Okay. Well, we should have a chat about potentially putting them on our platform too,
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
especially if they're eco-friendly. So we can chat about that offline.
Yeah.
Um, okay. So when life gets busy, you know, for anybody, kids, jobs, stress, etc., what's your best advice for staying consistent without feeling overwhelmed?
Oof, I think you definitely like what we talked about with blocking off the time, like what can you fit within the day? So if there are 2 days during the week that I'm super busy, I don't stress the workouts. I'm like, I'll make up for it on the weekend. I always tell my clients that like try to get in 3 really good workouts within the week, but don't stress it if one week is not as good as you want it to be. Like it's okay. You have all the rest of the weeks. Like fitness is for the rest of your life. It's not 1 week, it's not 6 weeks. It's really you're trying to do it for the rest of your life and sustain what you can and make progress where you can. And just make sure that it's week after week. So if there's a week or two that it's not consistent and you're getting just a couple of good workouts in or you have movement in, you're going for a walk, you're riding the bike, that's fine. Don't stress it. You're still gonna be where you need to be. You'll make progress.
So, if you could give listeners just 3 action steps that they could take this week to get healthier, more consistent, what would they be?
So I think number one would be create a list. Create a list of where you want to be and why. Why are you doing it? And where do you want to be? And I don't know, a month from now, 2 months from now, a year from now. That's your first thing. Create a plan. The second thing I think would be to get help where you need it. You can't do everything on your own. We always think that we can do everything by ourselves, but delegate tasks where you can if you don't have time to work out, for example, because you are cleaning your house for an hour in the week. Try to get someone to help you with that if you're able to. I know it's kind of hard, but I'm just giving a random example. If there's tasks that are kind of taking up your time within the week, can you delegate that to someone else? Can you get help with your workouts by a trainer, by a fitness class to help push you where you can't do that yourself? And then the third thing would be definitely to focus on the rest. That's one thing because if you're not sleeping well, if you're not recovering well, you're not going to have the energy and the power to get through your initial list. So make sure that you're giving yourself time to just chill and recover and do all the things that you need to do to feel good.
Very good. And then if someone wanted to become your client, do they go to tuneintofitness.com or do they
Yes.
go to your Instagram?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, or email me. I think my email is on the website. But definitely through the website, you can submit a form. Some people don't like to do that. They just want to reach out and ask questions. And so I
mhm,
always that's really the way I would go about it for the most part is just to give me a call or email me and we'll go over whatever questions you have. I think I have a Calendly link on there where you can schedule like a 10-minute call. And that's really helpful just so people can ask one-on-one to an actual person and get the answers that they need.
sure, cool.
Sonny, you've been incredibly successful so far, and won't get into how old you are, etc. But you seem still pretty young to me. When you're 40, okay, so tell me, what does tune into fitness? What does Annie Cooper's world look like when you're 40? What are your goals? What are your
Oh my
ambitions?
god. So I'm 29, which is I'm, like, terrified, but in 40,
Please.
okay, so in, like, 10 years from now, I think so I would love to have the fitness community grow. I have an app that is in place, so I would love to have, more people on the app that can reach just a very broad amount of people all around the world. I would love to do different little workout events all across the world. If there's, an event in France, if there's an event in Colorado, Miami, I think that would be really cool to do for the fitness stuff. I would love to get more into sports. I used to do sports broadcasting a lot, and I love being around sports and athletes and stuff like that. So I think whether it's with interviewing or hosting different events in the sports world, that would be really fun. I also just joined a nonprofit organization to help kids, high schoolers, middle schoolers get scholarships in college and help them with different sports. So, I'm focusing on running with them and also with helping them get into different colleges through their sports and motivate them and stuff like that. And then definitely just I think, build a lifestyle that I don't ever want to get away from. I think I want to have freedom to travel when I want, whenever I want, um, always be helping people and feel fulfilled. Hopefully, a family, live where I want to live and just feel like my environment is the best place in the world and I'm surrounded by really good people. So I think those are the goals.
Well, I certainly don't doubt that you're going to do all of those.
Thanks.
I've heard a lot of passion and enthusiasm, but the thing that I admire is you've got that hard work ethic, you've got that grind, which will always make you successful.
Thank you. I
Well,
appreciate that.
as we get towards the end here, one of the things we always like to wrap up, I'm sure you're aware that the core values of Allwellco are strength, kindness, and perspective. So you've given us great perspective, showed us a ton of strength. Let's focus on kindness. So is there somebody in your life that embodies all these values, somebody who's deeply influenced, inspired your journey that you actually want to give a shout out? Who are they? Why have they inspired you? How have they influenced you? And please show them some kindness.
Oh, definitely my mom. I text her all the time with, like, beating myself up and getting so mad at, like, did I make the right decision or I'm not doing enough or whatever, and she's always the person to be like, "You're doing enough, relax." Because I think when you do have, like, that mentality of, like, go, 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 you just always feel like you're behind. Like, I always am beating myself up and thinking I'm not doing enough. So I think my mom has always shown me kindness to just say that you're gonna get where you wanna be in life, don't worry, like, you will always end up on the right path and the right side, and don't stress yourself out or be so hard on yourself because you have to be positive because 'cause you're literally with yourself every single day. You are the person that is the most consistent in your life, and that's something we always have to keep in mind. So you have to talk to yourself in a kind way, be nice to yourself, and just make sure that you are giving yourself some grace.